Hello everybody, I am MrGamingGuitarist, and tonight's episode of Arrow just ended, and I'm here to review it. So it was the third episode of Season 5. This episode was called A Matter of Trust, and we are here to review it. So anyways, if you haven't seen this episode, there will be full spoilers, so make sure you watch the episode before you watch my review. So that is your spoiler warning. So the episode starts off with the team watching the Green Arrow interrogate someone. And I liked how funny it was when they said that Felicity was going to give everyone DVD copies of it so that you have to watch it like someone watching football, analyzing plays. So anyways, we got to see that. And then we find out that there is a new drug called Stardust that's going around, and it's being supplied by some guy named Samson. And it's really funny that they mention that because it's how clever. Stardust is the name of the drug when the guy who's playing the supplier is Cody Rhodes, the guy that actually wrestled Stephen Amell in the WWE. So that's a very clever tip of the hat there. So next up, we find out that Diggle is in jail and that Deadshot is his cellmate. So I really enjoyed this part of the episode because at first, we thought that Diggle was in prison. And at first we thought that Deadshot was his cellmate, but then it looks like it turns out it was probably just his imagination. Or that was his imagination, right? Because when Lila visited him in the cell, he wasn't there. That has to be what happened, right? Because I'm pretty sure he's still dead after they went on that mission. And because he's probably dead after he went on that mission in Season 3 it was, right? Yeah, that's probably what happened. So anyways, next up, Oliver is really pissed at Thea for giving Quentin the deputy mayor position, and he wants her to fix that now PR problem that happened. So next up, we get to see Wild Dog and Evelyn go on a recon mission to find out where Stardust is being made, and they find out exactly where it is. They cause a big old shootout, and Wild Dog ends up being the one responsible for Samson falling Joker style into the pit of chemicals. But this time he dies, then he gets brought back to life again. Kind of reminds me a bit of like a zombie where the guy falls into where the guy's dead, but instead of eating their brains, the guy just wakes up. Daffy Duck style. Or I guess similar to when Oliver died in Season 3 and he just woke up because penicillin T bullshit. Anyways, so next up we have this new district attorney named Adrian Chase, who is the reason why Oliver finds out about Wild Dog attacking Samson's lab. And so, more on that later. Next up, Thea asks the reporter to update, I forget what her name is, I think it was like Susan something, but to update the story about Oliver hiring Quentin as the deputy mayor, and he tells her that she's the one that made the decision, and this fucking bitch just says, "Oh, we got some scoops now. We're gonna run with it." So, anyways, next up, Samson wakes up. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that. So next up, so Felicity still feels guilty for sending the missile. Excuse me. So Felicity still feels guilty for sending the missile to destroy Haven Rock, and she hasn't told Ragman about it yet. Rory, that's his name, right? Rory. At first, I completely forgot about him because I thought, who the hell is this other guy in the dress shirt? Who the fuck's this guy? Then it took me a while to remember that was Ragman. So anyways, so next up we finally get our first fight between Oliver and Samson. It's in the hospital, and I really like the choreography of the fight scenes in this episode. I thought they were really well done, and they were pretty damn enjoyable to watch. So anyways, so next up, Oliver still doesn't trust his team out on patrol after what Samson did. I mean, after what Wild Dog did, and he tells him if he can't trust his team so far, why should? If he can't trust his team, I believe he said something along the lines of, "I have to trust the team inside the Arrow Cave before he lets them. He can trust them out on the field." So anyways, so then we find out that Diggle told Lawton about him killing his brother and then we get to see a great scene where Lawton tells Diggle that instead of, so all that hatred that you had towards me should have been all towards yourself. And so I'm really glad to see Deadshot back, even if it is just a hallucination in Diggle's head. I really enjoyed seeing it. So next up, we get to see Curtis to tell Felicity to clear the air with Rory about what happened with Haven Rock, and he tells her that. So I'm glad at least they're having repercussions about them just about killing 15,000 people to save 1 million people. And so I'm glad that it's not a thing they're just forgetting about. I'm glad that they're actually having things to help build upon that. So the way of having Rory be a part of the team, and he was directly affected by Felicity's actions from the last season. I'm really glad we were able to actually see that continue on. So anyways, next up. Okay, so Samson wants to give his men the same chemical treatment that made him impervious to pain. So, kind of... excuse me. Yeah, there really isn't much to say about that. So next up, Diggle still feels guilty for killing Andy, and he tells Lila that him being in jail is like his punishment for killing Andy. So, and that's when we find out that this whole time Deadshot was just all in his imagination. So, yeah. So does this mean Diggle is starting to turn crazy, or is it or is this all just one time when he imagined it, or is this going to be a thing that continues to haunt him, or that will seem to be a very interesting development? So next up, while Curtis is training with Evelyn, he finally says the words "Mr. Terrific," and he says it comes from an Olympian who was nicknamed Mr. Terrific. So I'm glad, at the very least, they were able to say those words out loud. So next up, so Oliver finally lets the team out on a mission to work together to stop Samson, and so next up, So next up, we got to see a really great fight where we finally got to see Oliver's team in action, and I really enjoyed seeing the fight between everyone. But the best part was finally seeing Curtis's costume, because I really liked his costume, because I believe it was just face paint he had, but he had like the T logo across his face, just like, I don't really know a whole lot about Mr. Terrific, but I would assume that it had something to do with but I'm going to guess, I don't know if that costume is accurate, but hey, I thought it looked pretty damn cool. So next up, we get another really good fight between Oliver and Samson, and what happened is, I really liked how he kept slicing his tendons, and then he says, just because you can't feel pain doesn't mean that you don't need your tendons. So goddamn, that was probably like one of the most brutal things we've seen Oliver do yet this season. He just kept on slicing him a lot. That was pretty goddamn badass to see. So next up we find Oliver getting initiated into Bratva by getting his back sliced constantly by other members. I mean, shit, half the scars that we see on him are probably all from that one scene. So next up, Oliver holds a press conference, and he says that any decision made by that's made by his team is a decision that he trusts because he trusts the people that he's working with. And I love how that's like, that's the double play there, because he was mentioning about both him as in the mayor's side and both him as and also him with his Arrow team. So next up, Thea tells the reporter, she pretty much tells her, "Hey bitch, you better not dare fuck with me again." Thought that was really good. So then later on, we finally get. So I'm glad that they didn't wait several episodes, and I'm glad that they were just letting this happen now, where Felicity tells Rory that she launched the missile to destroy Haven Rock. And of course, Rory doesn't get violent. Instead, he just gets really fucked up, and he just has to walk away. And I'm glad at least Felicity actually does. There's still repercussions. She still feels really bad about what she did. As you can and this is the only time where it's okay for Felicity to actually be crying, other than all the bullshit times when she was crying again non-stop, and it got really fucking annoying in season 3 and season 4. Anyways, next up we get to Lila shows up, and she asks Oliver to break Diggle out of prison. So once again, it's yet another prison break episode, whereas in season 2, where we got to see Diggle and Oliver break out Deadshot in prison, this time it's to break out Diggle in prison. So Arrow can seem to handle prison break episodes pretty good. So I hope that this episode can stack up as far as good prison break episodes in Arrow go. Anyways, that's my review for this episode of Arrow. Thank you for watching this review, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future videos from me, so that you don't miss out on my future reviews for the other CW DC shows. So make sure to come back tomorrow, where I will be reviewing the new episode of Legends of Tomorrow. And you can also watch the N4G TV podcast, where we will be talking about that. Where we will definitely be talking about that Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer, which I'm so fucking excited for. And I'll try to wake up really bright and early so that I will be there to make a reaction video to that trailer as soon as it is up on the Rockstar Games YouTube channel. Anyways, I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.